good dog. I'm in the town of Solvang. Behind me is the mission Santa Ynes, and it was founded in 1804 by the Franciscan order, but the original mission had to be rebuilt after the 1812 earthquake. The mission's geographic isolation meant it had little contact with the outside world. It sustained itself mostly through wine production. By 1821, when California had come under Mexican rule, the new Mexican government had stopped providing payment and materials to the Spanish soldiers, who in turn began pressuring the mission's Indian slaves to be more productive. By 1824, tensions finally boiled over. Having caught wind of a potential massacre plot against them, word spread quickly to the neighboring missions. And on February 21st, 1824, a young Chumash boy confronted a soldier at this mission and was brutally beaten. That act sparked a revolt from the local Chumash, and Chumash from La Purisima and Santa Barbara joined the revolt, and over the next few days engaged in a battle with mission soldiers. In an ironic twist, the revolt ended when soldiers accidentally set fire to the mission while attempting to burn down Chumash homes. Today, the renovated mission stands as a reminder of one of the Camino Real's darkest moments. In the early 1900s, a new wave of immigrants arrived in the region, the Danes, most of whom migrated to the region from the American Midwest in search of better weather. In 1911, a group of Danish teachers founded a small community which they named Solvang, Danish for sunny fields. By the 1950s, the town's original architecture was redesigned to mimic that of a Danish village. Today, the town is home to just under 6,000 people, though only about 10% of them actually claim Danish ancestry. Over the years, that 10% has managed to preserve their Danish heritage, giving the town a traditional Danish vibe. The town has even been described as being more Danish than Denmark. My next stop is the historic La Purisima Mission. This beautiful structure you see behind me is the Mission La Purisima Concepcion. It was founded in 1787 by Father Lasuen of the Franciscan order. It's also the mission with the largest grounds. It was originally built about 4 miles further, but after the great earthquake of 1812, it was rebuilt here at current location. At its peak, the mission was home to 1,400 people and 9,000 animals. This mission is full of irony. For one, despite being designed to prevent floods, this mission has actually been restored the most times, and the Padres also felt the mission's Indians were quite docile, and therefore there was no need to fortify it, a decision which they would later regret. During the Chumash Revolt of 1824, local Indians took over the mission for nearly a month until reinforcements arrived to aid the soldiers. Only a handful of Chumash returned to the mission after the revolt, and the mission was abandoned for good in 1843. It's one of the few missions that was never returned to the Catholic Church, and today it serves solely as a museum. Though a mass is held once a year on December 8th to celebrate the mission's founding. Today is the only example of a complete mission complex in California. and is often regarded as its most beautiful. It's also the only mission where you can see how the original natives lived. That's a quartel where the soldiers live. Oh, we have an old oven right here. This right here was the old olive press. Right here we have the ruins of the towel vats. This is probably my 5th visit to this mission, and I think this one's still my favorite. We have the leather workshop. This right here was actually the priest room. I really expected something a lot fancier. Oh, this right here was actually the priest's office and library. Right here we have the foundations of some Chumash dwellings. From La Purisima, I continue north to Luis Obispo.
Someone clean the children, a wife that no one likes. Frozen desert on the neon, with a throwaway song. We paid $50 on 12th Street today, and now all our money's gone. You don't have to answer me, you don't have to call me back, your phone's on the hook.
This building behind me is the Mission San Luis Obispo de Tolosa, and it was founded in 1772 by Junipero Serra, who named it after the Bishop of Toulouse, France. During the secularization era, it was used as a base of operation for the Mexican-American War, then was later converted into a courthouse and jail. After California statehood, the mission was returned to the Catholic Church, and in the 1930s, it was restored to its original glory. The mission is the only California mission that's open to the public 24/7, free of charge. The mission is unusual in its design, and that its combination of belfry and vestibule are found nowhere else in any other California mission. It's also the only L-shaped mission in California. Most missions and churches are designed in the shape of a cross, but this one is designed in the shape of an L. Another unique feature were its 60-foot walls, as at the time Vatican law dictated that churches must be as tall as the local trees. Now during this time period, the region was actually experiencing a massive food shortage, so the Spanish sustained the mission by hunting bear, something the local Indians were quite grateful for, as bears were considered an enemy creature. And some of that history is showcased at the Mission Museum, which contains one of the finest collections of artifacts from the Spaniards, Mexicans, and Native Americans. The mission is one of only few in California that was never relocated, and it eventually developed into the city of San Luis Obispo. In fact, its youth center was once the father's soup kitchen. Today, San Luis Obispo has a proud reputation for being the best place to live in America, and also for having its best climate, though apparently not today. From San Luis Obispo, I make a slight detour to the historic region of San Simeon.
Nie, tam i tamten też.
We've just arrived on the picturesque San Simeon coast, and this is the region's famous Elephant Seal Beach, one of my favorite spots in San Simeon. It was here in San Simeon where Arnold Schwarzenegger had one of his highest body counts, and William Randolph Hearst built his iconic castle. Good morning. So I've decided to take a break from our California adventure to promote an upcoming episode on Africa. I'm only joking. Although I could have very easily sold you right there, what we're actually looking at are the descendants of zebras once owned by William Randolph Hearst. I'm now getting back on the Camino Real to visit the historic sites of San Miguel. We've just arrived on the grounds of the mission, San Miguel de Arcangel. It was founded in 1797 by Father Lasuen of the Franciscan order. And as you can see, the weather isn't really on our side today, but we're gonna explore the mission grounds anyways. The current building we see dates from 1818. The original wooden church that stood here was lost in a fire. Then in 2003, the mission was badly damaged when a 6.5 magnitude earthquake hit the area. Restorations were completed in 2009. Despite the earthquake damage, the mission's vibrant interior, done by local Indians, never had to be repainted. So today the pictures and murals are considered to be the most authentic and best preserved in the California mission system. In 1846, during the secularization era, Petronio Rios and William Reed took possession of the mission, and the Reed family occupied the recently abandoned buildings. Then after the 1848 murder of the Reed family members and their servants, mission rooms were converted to commercial stores, saloons, and hotels, and the property was distributed among the local Indians and private investors. In 1859, President James Buchanan returned the mission to the Catholic Church, and in 1928, it was returned to the Franciscans. Just a few hundred yards from the mission is another historic building called the Rios-Caledonia Adobe, and it was constructed in 1835 under the supervision of Petronio Rios. It was originally owned by Mexican Governor Pio Pico, who in 1846 sold it to three different families, the Reed, Garcia, and Rios families. Now, the name Caledonia is actually the Scottish name of Scotland, and that name was given in 1868 after the adobe was purchased by a Scottish immigrant who turned it into an inn, tavern, and stagecoach stop, which was visited by legendary outlaws Frank and Jesse James, the Dalton brothers, and Joaquin Murrieta, who was the inspiration for Zorro. But the arrival of the Southern Pacific Railroad in 1886 ultimately brought it out of business, after which point it served as an elementary school, industrial facility, and home before eventually being turned into a museum. My journey along the Camino Real continues to the missions of San Antonio and Soledad. This is the mission San Antonio Padua. It's named after the famous saint from Padova, Italy. It was founded in 1771 by this man, Father Junipero Serra, and it was the third mission to be founded in California. The church itself actually wasn't completed until 1816. It's actually the third church to be built on this site, and is one of the most unique in terms of architecture. This mission is a site of many firsts. It was the first mission to use tiled roofing and dried clay, and was also the site of the first Catholic wedding in Alta, California. It took place in 1773 between an Indian woman and a Spanish soldier. It was also the first California mission to have 1,000 native converts, some of whom constructed this well you see behind me. It also boasts the most complete mission-era irrigation system. The mission suffered significant damage during the Great Earthquake of 1906 and took nearly 50 years to fully restore. Looks like we've arrived at just after Mass. I think I've been to this mission around 3 times now, and I actually had a chance to go inside, and this is still definitely one of my favorite missions in California. By far, its most unique attribute is that it sits right in the middle of the Hunter Legit military base, which was established during the Second World War on the land donated by William Randolph Hearst. In fact, his original estate still sits on the property. Its bizarre setting makes it the most rural and least accessible of all the California missions. But those who are fortunate enough to make it out here are rewarded with an authentic old world vibe that has all but disappeared from the other California missions.
There's a fire on the moon and I can't get there. I keep banging my head on the cold night air. Yeah, and I'm stuck inside a moment, can't find my way out. Stuck inside a moment, can't find my way out. And time keeps dragging on, no matter how I shout. The mirrors were facing two souls. There's one up in the clouds and one down in a hole, in a hole. 'Cause I'm stuck inside a moment, can't find my way out. Stuck inside a moment, can't find my way out. And time keeps passing on, no matter how I shout.
We've arrived at the mission in Nuestra Señora de la Soledad, which translates to Mission of Our Lady of Solitude, an appropriate moniker due to its location in the middle of the Salinas Valley. This particular mission was founded in 1791 by the Franciscan order. Throughout its history, the mission was inundated by several floods, and after the missions were secularized in 1835, Governor Pio Pico purchased the mission for a reported $800. Large portions of it were scavenged for building material, and it sat in a ruin until it was finally restored in 1954. It is once again a functioning Catholic chapel. Looks like we've arrived at just after Mass. This is actually one I've been trying to visit nearly 3 times, but finally we were able to see both the grounds and the interior. Now, in addition to being the most productive agricultural region in the U.S., the region is also infamous for its health hazards. In 1828, a massive epidemic wiped out a large portion of the mission's Indians, and in recent years it has become notorious for being the largest exporter of E. coli contaminated lettuce.